Hi guys, Petrik here. Today's video will be about all the series that I want to start and finish in 2021. That means I haven't started any of the series yet, and hopefully I can also complete them within next year. And obviously there is always a chance that one or two of the series doesn't work for me and I end up DNFing the series, but well, I have a good feeling that I'm going to love the majority of this. There isn't any ranking of priority to this series that I'm going to mention. I'm pretty much just listing the top 10 series that I want to finish next year. And you can safely expect that I will be talking about this series a lot of times within next year. And yeah, let's begin. One of the top 10 series that I want to read next year is The Dagger and the Coin by Daniel Abraham. This is a 5-book series, and as some of you probably know already that I love The Expanse. Well, not absolutely love, I have mixed feelings about the books, but I do love the TV show so much. Although Daniel Abraham is mostly known for his work with Ty Frank as James S.A. Corey on the Expanse series, I do think that his Long Price Quartet, a very underrated epic fantasy series, is even better than the Expanse. And because of that, The Dagger and the Coin has been on my radar for quite a while now. I think it's since 2018, I think. If I'm not mistaken, it was since 2018, but I've never gotten around to it. But this time, I'm determined to finally read the series next year. Hopefully, I will enjoy it as much as I did the Long Price Quartet, or maybe even more. If you have followed my reviews for a while, I don't know if you noticed this, but I have this curse with 5-book series. For whatever reason, with 5-book series, I'm always disappointed with the final book. I don't know why that happens, but I don't think I have ever read a 5-book series where I'm completely satisfied with the final book. For example, The Lightbringer, I'm disappointed with the final book. The Shadow Campaign by Django Wexler, I'm disappointed with the final book. And the Traitor Sun Cycle, well, that one, I couldn't even finish it. Hopefully the curse will go away for this one. And speaking of 5-book series, the next series that I want to read in 2021 is also another 5-book series called The Gap Cycle by Stephen R. Donaldson. Stephen R. Donaldson is mostly known for his Thomas Covenant series. Thomas Covenant is a grimdark epic fantasy series, but for some reason, everything I heard about the series doesn't seem to really caught my attention. Okay, not caught my attention, but it doesn't spark my interest to really read the books. And the reception to a Thomas Covenant have been super mixed. It's either absolute love or absolute hate. Well, for The Gap Cycle, I think most people actually love this one. And a few trusted friends of mine actually said that this is even better than Red Rising Saga. You know I have to read this series if someone said that, especially when they're also a fan of Red Rising Saga by Chris Brown. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a grimdark sci-fi series, so you probably don't want to read this series if you're not into grimdark series. The next series that I want to read in 2021 is something that's outside of my comfort zone. This is Cucios Legacy by Jacqueline Carey. I mean, look at the cover art. This looks like romance. But supposedly, from what I heard, this series is so much more than just romance and adult contents. This is a 6-book series divided into 2 trilogy. The first trilogy is called Phaedrus Trilogy, and the second trilogy is called Imriel's Trilogy. I have sampled Carey's writing myself, and wow, it's so beautifully written, and that's why I definitely will have to give this one a try next year. Then the next series that I want to read in 2021 is The Acts of Kane by Matthew Woodring Stauffer. Okay, for this one, look at the cover art of the first book, Heroes Die. Nothing in this cover show that this is a grimdark science fantasy series. Nothing. Look at it, what even is this? It's abysmal. It's so bad. But you know what? Everyone I know who have read this series actually love this series so much, especially the first book. I'm going to follow Do Not Judge a Book by its cover too hard. Then the next priority series I want to read next year is a classic. This is the River Saga by Raymond Feist. A lot of you probably already know about the series, and yes, I haven't read any of these books, but I've heard from a lot of my friends and a lot of readers that this is one of those series that sparked their love for reading fantasy. So I'm curious about this. And I know that River Saga is just the first trilogy out of 31 books. But before continuing, I think it's better for me to read the first trilogy first and find out how it goes. And the next priority series is actually related to the River Saga. It is the second trilogy in the Riftwar cycle, so it takes place after River Saga. It is the Empire Trilogy by Raymond, Feist, and Janny Wurts. I have actually heard from many readers who have read the Riftwar cycle that the first two trilogies are the best out of all the 31 books. Some have said that this one is even better than River Saga. I think this trilogy will be filled with politic intrigues, and a lot of people have mentioned that the main character of this trilogy is one of the best female characters to ever exist in fantasy. I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one. The next priority series that I want to read in 2021 is The Witcher by Andrzej Sapkowski. I absolutely love The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Like many gamers out there, I think this is one of the best open world RPG to ever exist in the history of gaming. Not gonna lie, I think The Witcher 3 actually ruined me from playing a lot of open world games. It's just too good. Just too good. And honestly, back when I was playing Witcher 3, I did read The Last Wish. I did enjoy The Last Wish, but I haven't read any of the other stories or any of the other books. And although I have heard several mixed things about this series despite its high rating and sales, I totally want to give this series a try and see whether the books live up to the games or not. Although I think it will be quite hard. As for the TV show, I actually really enjoyed the first season. I really thought at first that Mads Mikkelsen would have been casted as Geralt of Rivia. As it turns out, it was Henry Cavill, and he did a great job, in my opinion. It's just kind of gratifying to finally have an actor that have passion for fantasy games and fantasy books. And yeah, there's a total of 8 books in the series, and I'm going to read them all if possible. We have 3 priority series left, and the next one that I'm going to talk about is The Song of the Shattered Sands by Bradley Beaulieu. Okay, this one, look at the cover art. They are some of the most stunning cover art that I've ever seen. Look at them, they're so gorgeous. And the cover art of the final book just came out. Look at it. Beautiful, just beautiful. The Song of the Shattered Sands is a 6-book series with a lot of novellas. And I think I will only read one novella though, the one that's called Of Malice and Mate. This one is a prequel to the main series. This is an epic fantasy with desert setting that has been in my TBR since 2017. So why haven't I read this until now? Well, here's the thing. In 2017, I heard that the 3rd book, A Veil of Spears, would be the final book of the trilogy. And so I thought, okay, I will wait until 2018 and then I will binge read the trilogy. And then in 2018, it got extended into a 6-book series. And so because of that, well, I haven't read it until now, but I've heard that the 6th book, A Desert Torn Asunder, will truly be the final one. I think the final book will come out next June or July. I will be reading this series in the first half of next year. Then the next priority series that I want to read is The Last Kingdom series by Bernard Cornwell. This is a 13 books historical fiction series. This isn't the first time that I'm reading Bernard Cornwell's work. I have read his Warlord Chronicles trilogy and I absolutely loved it. It is a trilogy that's highly recommended by John Gwynne. If you haven't read Warlord Chronicles, do read it. It's incredible. I have enjoyed the TV show very much. You know, Uhtred. My name is Uhtred, son of 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 Uhtred. Yeah, that series, it's amazing. And now that the book series has ended, there is no more excuse for me not to read it. I will be approaching this starting from January immediately, and I will be reading 2 books per month, so I will probably be done with The Last Kingdom by June or July. I have a good feeling I will love the books as much or maybe even more than the TV show. And the last priority series that I want to read next year, if you have followed this channel, then you'll know what I'm talking about. It is the Austin Art Saga by Tad Williams. The first trilogy is Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy, and then there is a novella called The Heart of What Was Lost that bridged the 2 trilogy. And the second trilogy is called The Last King of Austin Art. This series has been in my radar for way too long, way too long. There is no more excuse to postpone this, especially because I've heard that the final book in The Last King of Austin Art will come out next year. I think it's in October or November. Yeah, I think it's in October or November. It's called Navigator's Children. And before that, there will be a novella called Brothers of the Wind. So in total, there will be 8 books, 6 novels, and 2 novellas. I will be reading them all if possible. This is a series that's been praised by so many readers so many times, and even George R.R. Martin and Rothfuss called it a series that inspired them to write their series. Yeah, seriously, George R.R. Martin said that Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy inspired him to write his 7-book trilogy. I don't think that's how trilogy works, but oh well. And it is one of his favorite series. And Rothfuss pretty much said the same thing, that this has paved the way to many modern fantasy, including his. And looking at the schedule, I will be reading this one in the second half of next year. This is most likely the biggest priority of series for me to read in 2021, and fingers crossed that I will love this series. A lot of fans have compared Tad Williams' writing to Robin Hobb's. Just hearing that is more than enough to convince me to give Tad Williams' works a try. And yeah, that's the top 10 priority series that I want to read next year. That's a total of 62 books, 59 novels plus 3 novellas. That's a lot. And this doesn't even include books that I want to reread and advanced reading copies and new release. So I don't know how next year will go, but you will probably see me talking about this series a lot next year. And if I have some time before the year ends, I will be reading Prince of Nothing trilogy by R. Scott Baker. This is the first trilogy in the second Apocalypse series. And also Wars of Light and Shadow, 11-book series by Janny Wurts. But looking at how packed my TBR, I don't think I will have the time to read both Prince of Nothing and Wars of Light and Shadow in 2021. So most likely these two series will go into my priority series to read in 2022. And that's all the priority series that I want to read next year. And what about you? Have you read any of these series, and do you enjoy them? And what's the priority series that you want to read next year? As always, thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.